on, guys? Tash here for another Can You Game on It? It's been a while, friends, since I have seen you. We are talking about Can You Game on It this week. We're gonna sing about the Redmi Note 10 Pro. It's a really cool phone to play Genshin Impact and other games as well. CK, do the intro. Whoa, 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 whoa. Alright guys, as I said earlier, this week we're going to be talking about the Redmi Note 10 Pro. This is one of my favorite phones this year. A mid-range device. Quite reasonable in price. You can put it over here. CK, please edit it here, okay? Right over here. Put it in, CK. Don't do what you did last time, okay? You hear me? Do not. Anyways, let's talk about these specs. So the specs of the phone is the Snapdragon 732G processor, 8GB of RAM, 128GB of internal storage, 5020 milliamps battery capacity with 33-watt fast charging. Yeah, this baby won't be charging long at the wall plug, alright? And 6.67-inch AMOLED display, to be precise, with 120 Hz refresh rate. Yes, everyone, I said 120 Hz. Everything be super fast, so fast, Sonic cannot even go as fast. I don't even know what I'm saying half the time. Okay, so before we hop into performance, let's talk about design a little bit. This phone comes with a flat display. A flat display means that it doesn't have any rounded edges, which I really like. I don't like it when I'm playing video games and my hand touches the side here. Yes, I have fat fingers!
Deal with it, everyone!
It kind of like drags the screen or whatever. I don't like that, okay? So anyways, over here as well, you can see cut out for the display, for the selfie camera. It has also a 3.5mm headphone jack over here on the top here. Can I have a hallelujah? Hallelujah! Also guys, dual stereo speakers, one at the bottom, one at the top. A side-mounted fingerprint reader. Yeah, it's not in display, it's side-mounted, which I honestly prefer. And it has a camera over here. I'm not too sure about the camera bump. It's pretty large. It's not very fun when you wanna play Genshin on the table and then you just like, yeah, you hear that? It wobbles when you play games on it, flat down. So not really my favorite part. But other than that, very comfortable edges over here. Very comfortable to hold. I like it very much. Okay, so now, the most important part. Can you game on the Redmi Note 10 Pro? Alright, so we tested a few games for this, starting off with Free Fire. I managed to kick it up all the way to high FPS and ultra graphics. Actually, even on default, it was already that. Playing the game means that the phone gets just a little bit warm, which is nothing alarming at all. That's very normal when you're playing video games on a phone. And the gameplay was extremely smooth, even when I was recording the footage on the phone. However, one downside, UI is not very optimized because I noticed the backpack icon was actually cut out by the cutout camera over here. So it was very troublesome trying to press on the backpack. But other than that, it's actually pretty good. I like playing that game on, this phone. Pretty great. Especially because of the AMOLED display. It means I see more. And I won. It's the best day of my life. Well, 12th place, but don't tell anyone. Okay, now let's talk about Call of Duty Mobile. Or I call it Call of Booty. Okay guys, so talking about Call of Duty Mobile, did you guys know there's a Battle Royale mode on that? Yes, there has been for a while, but me, I'm a chicken, I never tried it. The Battle Royale mode is actually one of the best Battle Royales I've played on a mobile game. Please try it, very fun. But in terms of phone performance, when you kick up the graphics to max settings, the game actually plays so smoothly and beautifully, like, so good. Unfortunately, the phone gets really hot. Like, I'm not saying like super hot, but it was actually kind of like alarming how hot it got, and I was a little bit worried that I might damage the phone. So I recommend you guys to just play on high settings instead of like highest or ultra, and do not max everything. Even the FPS, only put on high, not max, because that's the reason why it got super hot. But other than that, even though it's just those settings, it actually just still plays beautifully and very, very well. Okay, now moving on to MOBAs. We tried out MLBB, one of the most smooth game experiences I've had on a mid-range device. It can easily run the game on higher settings, but just so you know, it just gets a tad bit warm. It's not scary warm, but you can actually feel it. Medium would be the way to go for me if you don't want the phone to feel hot at all. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else to add. It's Mobile Legends Bang Bang. It's just such a great game that you can just play smoothly on the phone. Now, let's try something a little bit more heavy. Let's talk about Genshin Impact. I always get a little bit nervous when I try out Genshin Impact on phone. It's a very, very heavy game. Okay, so I had to play around with the graphics for a little bit. So it can definitely run the game on medium shadows and visuals, but make sure the rest is kept on low, and make sure that the game is on 30 FPS instead of 60, because I noticed when you run it 60, it gets super hot and it also gets a little bit laggy, so please don't do that. You get nicer, smoother frame rates at 30 FPS. Okay, so now, this is the problem I had here. I wanted to show you guys how smooth the game is by recording the game. Unfortunately, by turning on the screen recorder when I'm playing Genshin Impact, the frames dropped by a lot, as you can see here on the screen. So yes, I would definitely recommend this phone if you want to play Genshin Impact, but don't record. It just overloads the phone, for sure. But other than that, I feel like if you play the game on the settings that I told you guys, it won't get too hot. It's actually quite a nice experience to play on. And because the screen is really large, you see more. And surprisingly, even with the cutout display on the top here, you'll notice that there's not really a problem when it comes to the UI as well, because it doesn't hinder anything at all. Now, let's talk about Injustice 2. So as you know, Injustice 2 does not allow you to change the graphics for the game. It auto-optimizes itself depending on the phone. But it does have support for 120Hz phones. So now, for this game, I'm actually quite surprised at how well this phone managed to regulate the heat for Injustice 2. It was actually one of the smoothest experiences I had playing Injustice 2 on a mid-range device, and surprisingly, it didn't get warm at all. It was actually just a neutral kind of like feeling, like just room temperature throughout the entire gaming session. I actually really like it. By the way guys, for Injustice 2, I'm starting to get to the more hard parts of the game because I only play this game when I'm checking out a phone. So the problem is, once I hit the higher levels, will I suffer? Probably. You're gonna see a lot more B-rolls of me dying. But it doesn't matter. I'm doing this all for you guys. For science! So, let's talk a little bit about the speakers for the phone. As you know, the phone does come with the 3.5mm headphone jack, which is actually really good, which means that you don't have to be looking for a headphone jack that is Type-C. You can immediately just use your headphone of choice. Now, let's talk about the dual speakers. So the dual speakers are actually one of the best soundings I've ever heard on a mid-range device. It was actually nice playing games without headphones as well, especially Genshin Impact. You just get to listen to the songs and get to use the ha-ha, hoo-hoo, hua. Also guys, I just want to say something about Genshin Impact before I continue. I did my first Genshin Impact pull today, and I got this girl who is a cook and has a panda. I forgot her name, and she has 4 stars, and that was my first ever pull, and I'm so proud of myself. I am so proud of myself. Will I be playing more Genshin Impact? Absolutely. Will I spend money on it? Oh my god, please no. I have no money. So now, let's talk about the battery. For this phone, playing 1 hour of Genshin Impact on 30 FPS with the graphics I told earlier only ate up about 25% battery. That's actually not bad at all. Granted, I was using the adaptive display, aka on some parts when it's super bright, they'll actually lower the brightness for you, and when it's dark, they'll brighten the phone for you. You can actually turn that off if you want to, but I guess leaving that on actually helps the phone kind of like optimize your battery usage. I definitely recommend you leaving that on, but sometimes it can get a little bit annoying, especially if you're playing shooter games and the brightness actually changes. I don't like that. So maybe depending on the game, you can actually optimize that for yourself. Speaking of optimization, this phone also comes with a game boost, which means that you can actually regulate who calls you and texts you during your gaming sessions. No one's gonna bother you, which is great. I just gotta tell you guys, it's great for times where my boss is like calling me, right? He wants to tell me to do work. I don't want him to call me. Use that. He'll think you're not at your phone, but you're just like gaming on it. But don't tell my boss. Okay. So guys, question of the day is, can you game on the Redmi Note 10 Pro? Abso-freaking-lutely. One of the best phones I've played so far and such value for money. The phone is already out. You can check it out on the Xiaomi or Redmi websites for yourself to find out how much it is on your respective countries. Anyways, I'm Natasha and I'm gonna go grind some more Genshin Impact so I can pull Child because I heard he's pretty OP. So speak of Child, ciao!